Did you catch all the Easter eggs in Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show? We'll talk about that along with Where's Nancy Pelosi? CalExit is back. And the latest with NBC weathercaster Yoanna's tragic death. Coming up.
From Koreatown, Los Angeles, thank you for tuning in to Ktown Social Club. For the issues you really care about. With Young Kim, David Yoon, Hajin Cho, Ed Choi, and I'm your host, Michael Kim. And with that, let's start the show.
I like Sonong.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, welcome to the K-Town
David
Social
has like the
Club.
funniest way of like starting the show. Hello, everyone. It's just like
I feel like I'm at an amusement park. Hello.
Just
a
pals
psycho ward.
catching up.
Okay. But
Weekly,
yeah,
Mental hospital.
Weekly chats.
mental hospital.
How is
weekly
everyone?
chats.
Did everyone watch the Super Bowl?
Of course. Why would you not?
Yes, so you're a fan,
You're
it
obviously
seems.
a
Do you have
fan
like
and a
ties?
supporter.
Yeah, I grew up in Philadelphia.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yo.
Okay, I have family there. So I was a fake fan. I was supporting the
So
Eagles.
you've been to a game since?
So what's the best
have you?
Philly cheesesteak
Yeah.
steak over there?
I love Philly
questions.
cheesesteak.
Not Pat's or Gino's.
I heard like there's a Korean guy
Which
that
are
owns like a
across the street
really
from
good
each
one
other.
or something.
A lot of Korean
Oh.
Famous
fans.
one.
They own a lot actually, but my top 3 cheesesteak places, one of them is Korean owned.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in Havertown.
Hell yeah.
Is it close to Gino's in that area, or is
No,
it
it's
totally
in a
different?
suburb. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It's like 20 minutes outside of, like 10 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
And then where's the stadium in relativity to all of that?
On the other side, kind of.
Okay.
The stadium's not that far from Pat's and Gino's.
Okay.
But
But they played in New Orleans, right?
But the best cheesesteak in
Nola.
Los Angeles is Korean owned.
Oh,
there's
yeah?
a
Wait.
cheesesteak
What is the
place
name
here?
of it? Can you tell me?
Oh, yeah.
Boo's cheesesteak. They're from Philly.
Who?
Boo's.
Boo.
Where are they? What neighborhood?
I think they're like.
Wait, I've heard of this
it's like
place.
near Silver Lake. It's like on the edge of like Silver Lake and like
Close to here.
Echo Park.
I'm gonna
Nice.
check it out. But you know, like the best
I like
Southern
cheesesteak.
breakfast is at Moby's Coffee Shop on Crenshaw in Manchester. I just
Shout
wanted to
out
throw that in there.
Moby's.
So
What's the name?
Moby's.
Moby's Coffee Shop.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm jotting down all this.
I remember.
You can tell that he's never
I
even
remember
been
you
there.
repping
Yeah.
your joint.
Yeah, I got you, man. Free on the house. Bring
Down
your brother.
here
We'll
in
have to
LA.
visit. Yeah.
In here in LA.
But I think
Crenshaw-
because of the
Crenshaw's cool.
Super Bowl, one of the other cheesesteak places, they like sold out on orders at like 9 o'clock in the morning. Because I think everyone had
Oh,
the
yeah.
idea. They were like, oh, if we have cheesesteaks at our party, then it's Philly. You know what I mean?
Cute.
Good for them.
Congrats,
That's good.
Philly. Congrats, Eagles.
It was,
Congrats, fans.
it was a crazy shutout. It was
you watch the
it was a
game?
defensive, yeah. It was a defensive and offensive line shutdown where they completely shut down the line of Kansas City, and Kansas City became paralyzed from all different angles. Everyone was trying, that's where all the penalties were coming, and then. Mahone, every play that he was making, it was cursed. It was a cursed night for Kansas City, really. It was crazy.
pretend I know
How
what you're talking
crazy.
about.
I've never seen a
For all
shutdown
the
like that.
It was
I mean, I was
crazy.
watching
Yeah,
it.
it was. It was
But-
about to be a shutout.
Well, it was like
They slayed.
specifically for Eagles fans. It was like a really big deal because Andy Reid, who's now the head coach of
Oh, he was cute. Okay, okay.
of the Chiefs, I hate
Oh,
saying that name
Chiefs.
of Kansas City.
Okay.
He was the head coach of the Eagles for like 15 years or
Really?
whatever,
That's his history?
and he could
Oh, yeah.
never. He took us to the championships a bunch of times, but like we
Wow.
could never win. So when they beat us 7 years ago in the Super Bowl under Andy Reid, it was really fucking annoying. So for us to beat his ass this year, it was
Sports.
amazing.
Yeah.
Go football.
Also, like a lot of people don't know this, but Jalen Hurts, who's the quarterback of the Eagles,
Very cute.
He has a fully female medical team.
Oh my God, he's a feminist icon. I heard.
Oh,
I
okay.
just learned that literally 20 minutes ago. So shout out
That's
Jalen
awesome.
Hurts.
He's an MVP on and off the field.
All right.
That's so masculine to me. But anyway, did you
Well,
guys
I'd love
watch?
to be surrounded by chick doctors, dude.
I think that's dope.
Shit,
That's
I'll pay
like-
for that.
Yeah.
I don't
He
want a bunch of
trusts
guys
yeah,
like
he
treating
trusts
me.
like
No.
a full female
Feminist.
team. That's
Well,
dope.
that's why it was
That's
like
not
real-
a feminist. That's just being a man.
Thank
Well, that's why it
you.
was like really funny because when people were talking about like the whole DEI thing with like doctors and stuff, like female doctors on record are more thorough. and they have less malpractice.
You know, okay, look,
And less
even
assault.
in like food service, right? Women are more thorough in terms of everything. Guys always leave something out, or they always have certain bad habits, right? Like, you know, leaving the socks on the floor, whatever. But women are usually thorough. That's why, you know, I think many servers happen to be. I don't want to be sexist or anything, but
is
Well,
your
shout out
doctor
to
male or
women.
female?
Huh?
Is your doctor male or female? Just random question. You don't
today
have to share.
he's male. I got a
today-
new.
oh,
Yeah, I
today.
went
Got
today.
that.
Yeah, I got blood
I
work
did
It
as
done.
well.
reminded me of that Olympic video meme where they show the female coaches massaging the Olympic athletes, and they
Dude,
get
yeah.
really close. Did you
I haven't
guys see
seen
those?
it. I haven't seen it. That's so
okay.
sweet.
Even
So
like,
I wish
maternal.
I had this
But
job.
even like
though.
physical
Women,
therapy, I don't think I'd
always.
want a guy like sitting there, you know,
Doing, yeah,
turn over here,
being very close
you
to
know?
you, yeah.
Even chiropractor.
You're
I'd
gonna say
rather-
something.
But male servers make more money.
Do they?
Always.
Dispro-
Men just always.
disproportionately.
I would imagine women do, because all those guys are like, okay.
Well, to rally things back in to the topic, I wanted to mention Kendrick Lamar's epic halftime show. Did you guys watch that?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Thoughts,
wait.
opinions.
I think we were talking
feelings?
about. Okay, go ahead. Tell us the ins and outs.
The
Just
ins
what
and
you
outs.
guys- yeah,
Oh, well,
what you
I
guys
mean,
think.
well, the ins and outs. I mean, for those who didn't tune in, you can probably just type in Kendrick Lamar halftime show, and it's on YouTube. Apple Music put it out with YouTube, but yeah, for those who just wants a quick rundown. So Sam. There were people in there. So there were amongst the people were Samuel Jackson, SZA, DJ, was it Mustard? DJ Mustard, and
Serena.
and Serena Williams. And so it
It was a powerful narrative.
Yeah,
a
a lot of
powerful
people who
narrative.
didn't understand that. They said it was the
Yeah.
worst halftime show ever.
Right.
Even at
What
my
do you think about
restaurant.
that?
Even at my restaurant, we
And
were
what
talking
did-
about
why-
this.
well, hold on,
and this
what-
is a predominantly black neighborhood.
But what
Oh.
what did they not like about it?
Yeah.
Oh, they were saying that it was just boring. They didn't see the whole like ins and
whole-
outs of it and all that,
Did
right?
anybody of
But some of them don't even know
Like the
that like they're
symbolism?
talking about Drake. You know, they don't even know any of that. But once they heard it, they were like, "I'm gonna see it again. I'm gonna see it again." They're not, you know,
okay,
so
got it. I
thought the
it's
Drake
not
stuff
just
was
like
over.
Asians or it's not just
Right.
other races. Even black folks, they're not all aware of this whole Drake situation and about all these things. But they weren't able to piece together the story that they were telling with Samuel L. Jackson as
Yeah.
Uncle Sam and all that stuff. I wasn't able to put it all together.
Yeah.
But even the Koreans that we were watching with, like my wife and her friends and stuff, they were all watching it. They didn't understand the narrative or anything, but they loved Kendrick Lamar. They loved the music. They loved the
Same.
performance. They thought it was awesome that of all the dancers, you know, doing the American flag and putting everything together. So that's what I think was seen by the general public.
Right. It was very
I-
powerful.
Yeah, because I think it's
Yeah.
only until it was the day after that people started unpacking all the
Exactly.
Easter eggs.
Serena Williams.
Right. Yeah,
That's
and
another
so-
case, right?
Yeah. So here's a couple of things. So for it started off with this is the American game. Start here, and then we saw X's and O's. Do you want to actually play it?
Sure. I timestamped
Hold on, are we allowed to play this?
Because
Radio
no,
Korea? Can we
it'll
play
be
it?
it'll be
It's
Music?
copyright.
commentary.
Oh,
It'll be
really?
hit with a copyright.
I mean, you
okay.
can play the video in
Video.
the
Play the
background
Silent, yeah.
without,
music,
song.
without song.
Yeah.
Can I?
Because
Do you want to do it on your laptop?
It is. We are doing critique, so it would be the exception.
I don't know if I could do it on my
Oh, you
iPad.
could
Just
you could
pull
do it
the
on
video.
that. Still.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you could still do it on that. So it starts off with like X's, O's, squares, just to give off like a video game because
I thought it was
trying to get to young people.
Squid Game.
Oh yeah, well there's that too. Some people thought that, and then comes Samuel Jackson dressed up as Uncle Tom.
Wait, but with the X's and O's, it wasn't just X's and O's. It was actually the PlayStation. It was the PlayStation.
PlayStation, right?
PlayStation, yes.
And if
yes.
you actually put in the buttons that were pressed, it's the hack for GTA 5 to have unlimited life and money.
there
even
you
know
go.
that.
So-
That's why we have you here, Ed.
So it was essentially a dig at Drake. Kind of
Yes.
essentially, he was saying
Unlimited
that, like,
money and
whatever
unlimited
you
lives.
do, I'm going to be unhurt because, yeah.
Got it. So as
I
we go
own you.
through, then just stop because I feel like you guys would have a lot to share about this. So, so Uncle Tom comes out, which is Samuel Jackson.
Uncle Sam.
And
Is it Uncle
Sam?
Uncle Tom, Uncle
Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle
Sorry,
Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Thomas.
Samuel
Totally
Samuel
Just
Jackson.
forget it. Uncle Joe, all right?
Uncle Sam, sorry, Uncle Sam, all the typical virtues. And so he goes ahead and represents a lot of different things. And when Kendrick Lamar performs, he bashes it and he says, hey, the rap lyrics, all of that, it's too ghetto, too loud, too reckless, too
That's like
ghetto.
the NWA days. Is that what they're kind of saying?
Yeah.
No, he's representing like greater America, like trying to oppress like Black Americans authenticity and expression in their culture, because it's I think this is over and obvious messaging, but like Black culture is part of American culture.
And
like,
that was the
popular
reaction
culture.
that a lot of white Americans in the media had against
Yeah.
NWA and the hip hop groups
Oh my
that
God.
started. You know, that's
It's
what
like
it was.
The point is like, whoosh, bitch. Yeah, it's just like very overt messaging to me, where it's like, yes, this is you have to acknowledge the contributions that Black Americans have made, and they're literally they're some of the backbone of this country, and they still continue, white supremacists or people, the billionaire class, the 1%, whatever, they still profit off of the labor of Black Americans, this football game being such an ironic and perfect example.
So the built on the backs of Black people, that was symbolized
Yeah.
when the group of dancers formed the American flag with their backs turned towards each other and Kendrick Lamar in the middle. So that was supposed to be the messaging of U.S., the flag built on the backs of Black people. But yeah,
A message of divide, and
and so
there being a culture war.
So Uncle Sam is saying this is what America wants, but why are you doing this? And then SZA comes out performing vocals for Luther and All the Stars.
By the way, I was blown away at the live performance. 'Cause it was like
She was lip-syncing,
flawless.
but, yeah.
Was it really?
She was?
That's what everyone online's saying. And if you
That's
really
what it
watch
sounded like.
well, when she's like dancing and moving and leading back, like,
It's
the sound
hard.
didn't
It's
change
tough
at
to
all.
hone that
Like,
thing,
the
right? So I was like really like
the
listening
first
to
song
it.
she was definitely lip singing.
Okay.
It wasn't just a backtrack, because all live performances
Have a backtrack. It's true, but it sounded really clean. Like it sounded like a single track,
I don't know. I
except
was
on
watching
certain
with friends
parts.
and they've
And
seen her
I know how
before.
I know how to route MRs for live performances. So you know that's something that we do.
Just rumors. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, but it could be. I mean, it could be. I mean, it's the biggest stage out there, but she's saying it so
I have
perfect.
friends who have
it was
seen
like,
SZA and they were like,
I would,
she's not good
yeah, I
live.
could see that. I could see
Maybe
that.
one
love
song.
her. Love
Maybe
you,
one
SZA,
song, but
but-
not the other
But
song.
Kendrick
Yeah,
was
maybe.
live. I
But she
felt.
sang two
Kendrick was
songs. So.
live.
Yeah.
You can hear him like his breaths and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's how you know someone's
So
live.
after SZA, it was Mustard, and then that's when they did the U.S. flag with the dancers forming that shape, and then there was Warning Wrong Way. So not following what Uncle Sam wanted. And some people say
was
that
so
this
cool.
warning wrong way might mean, hey, it's literally because he's not doing what Samuel Jackson just wanted him to do, which was assimilate. But or it could be America under the second Trump administration right now, warning wrong way. Or it could be the second half of the sets now focusing
I think it means we're
on-
regressing, like back to a time in history that we've never grown past.
Yeah.
Like we're still such a racist society. That's not like
Well, getting
Yeah,
worse.
so-
it's
so
not
a
a
bigger-
woke claim. Yeah,
We're
it's just
regressing.
like we're regressing. I feel like that's the comment.
So then I guess my question at the end for any Kendrick Lamar fans is
is so cool.
if you have any theory as to the certain choices of songs amongst his whole career of a lot of songs.
yeah, are you guys fans?
Given all of that, because it is very particular in terms of the songs he picked and where he played them in terms of the signage.
I think he plays to
deliberate.
sort of the other half, you know, like going against Drake and stuff. Drake is mainstream,
Oh,
right?
fuck Drake. Oh my God.
So
I've
he
hated him
is
since I
like
was,
he's
like,
kind of like
14.
supporting the other half, the non-mainstream crowd, the unspoken voices, the voices you don't hear about. So I think he really wants to represent that, you know, not like us. You know, when you go to black neighborhoods, they have T-shirts on the street. Not like us. They not like us. They not like us. You know,
No,
it's
that's
kind
a
of like
cultural moment.
oh shit, you know, they not like us. It explains a lot of what they're feeling, what everyone's feeling. Every minority is feeling the same thing, you know.
Where they shot that music video, people go there now.
Yeah.
As like
Right?
to go get photos and shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Well, the
and
entire
you know when you
performance
listen,
was very West Coast too. Like he's from Compton. Serena Williams is from Compton.
yep, and he never went through
was,
Dr.
like,
Dre.
repping-
He wasn't produced by Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Most of the Compton guys comes through Death Row or one of those labels, but you know he's actually a really good actor too. I didn't really know about him, but he's actually a prime artist of the century. I think right
breath
at this
control's
point.
amazing.
When you listen to Power 106. It's like every other song is Kendrick Lamar. He must be making so much money just on royalties and airplay alone.
Yeah, he's a genius and
He's successful.
for-
But he's an artist.
I didn't know this one, but SZA actually dated Drake too back in 2009.
Oh, really?
As well as Serena Williams back
too,
in
so-
2015. So there's that.
So it's like that lends credibility to because they're up there going A minor or whatever, joining that same performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Drake should quit.
So embarrassing.
He's gonna stay in Canada, dude.
Yeah. So then
He's got to immigrate back.
at the end of
He hasn't gone
that,
back yet.
before he actually puts up his final message to Drake and puts him to bed, and when he does the Not Like Us, he actually doesn't say the actual words to certified pedophile, but it's
Everyone watching did.
yeah.
Everyone that my crew did too.
Well, it was
Pedophile.
replaced. It was replaced with a man,
Yeah.
I guess, yelling. I didn't hear it, that part.
Well, maybe
but,
it's a broadcast.
Like, he
thing.
meant like something like that. It was like
He knew the crowd would know.
yeah, because I think he said, I want to perform their favorite song, but you know they love to sue. He said that in the beginning when he was teasing it.
there is a
Reference to
lawsuit right
Aubrey,
now.
For sure.
Yeah, well, Drake's also sue happy. So.
Yeah, he's so
Yeah,
happy.
he's litigious,
I mean,
is what they
America
call
is
it
sue
when you
happy.
sue a lot. Everyone's
Everyone is sue
litigious.
happy.
Yeah. One thing he
He's a pet.
did mention for those, since it is Black History Month, 40 acres and a mule. You guys, have you heard of that, Hyung?
Yeah, is that,
have,
is that
right?
what
I
they
learned on
gave to
TikTok
certain? Yeah,
the
right?
Well,
last 2
that's what
days.
they promised to give and then never
Okay,
did.
they didn't give it, right?
Yeah. So for those quick history lesson, this was General Sherman's formal attempt at reparations back in 1865, post Civil War, to the illusion of prosperity for Black Americans. And Kendrick Lamar mentions this in a couple tracks in his albums. One in particular is the track Wesley's Theory from his 2015 album, and he talks about 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, anything to see. My name is Uncle Sam. I'm your dog. So kind of with that, he weaved that into the whole theme with Uncle Sam appearing over. And then one TikTok that Hudjin sent me. Can you play that one? Well, actually, you don't need to play it, but it's this lady. She was talking about how where the 40 acres and a mule has never been fulfilled by the U.S. government yet, there was
It's a broken promise.
a
Surprise,
broken
surprise.
promise, obviously, and this is where we've had politicians in the past, like in the 2020 presidential election, candidates actually talking about it, be it Kamala Harris or Marianne Williamson. But the Homestead Act, I saw the TikTok that Hajin sent me, the federal government wanted to populate the Midwestern part of the country, so they promised 160 acres to people who would farm and ranch the land. And guess who moved into the Midwestern part of the country? White people. So it was the white people who took the land, and that promise was actually fulfilled and carried out and not rescinded. And they stuck it out while the 40 acres and a mule never happened. So
They got
I
four
mean,
times.
they didn't even have to do that. They just didn't have to burn down Tulsa.
yeah. There you go.
The government's
There's-
let down the Black community since the inception of this country.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
And then he puts game over, putting Drake to his beef with Drake to bed.
I love his chaotic Gemini energy. Just like relentless hater energy. I love it.
Do you guys? Did you guys listen to his music a lot before? Like, do you have any
No,
theory
I
as
just
to
heard,
why
his
certain
songs when
are-
it came out. I know
Okay.
that it won a whole bunch of Grammys. Like,
YouTube
I think this
Radio.
album was like the peak of his everything coming together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kendrick Lamar. I think we had a chance to see really what Kendrick Lamar has become as an artist and also as a person who wants to spread a social message. You know.
Yeah.
This is technically also Kendrick Lamar's second Super Bowl performance.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's also
don't
true. It's not
remember,
his
is
first. But you know, I think people were used to seeing like Beyonce. Remember when Bruno Mars? I mean, you know, it's really
Oh, that
flashy,
performance
it's
so good.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
I think people are expecting that kind of stuff, but now we're seeing sort of a different take on what people are using the NFL Super Bowl halftime show stage for.
I think
Beyonce is actually the only person who's headlined the Super Bowl twice.
Beyonce. Okay, so now it's Kendrick, right?
Well, the last
he
time
didn't
he didn't
headline.
headline,
He didn't
he was just a
headline,
guest.
Okay.
Who was he
But-
best of?
It was with
don't remember
Dr.
this.
Dre when he brought out like Mary J.
with
Blige.
everyone.
Kendrick was one of them.
So that's when like
All
Eminem
blur
was
together
out.
for me.
That whole thing. That was Snoop Dogg was out on there too.
I like
That was pretty
this.
cool. That
So
was pretty
like
big.
when I watched this, I didn't watch it. I would like the first time when it aired, I was like doing stuff and I like mostly listened to it. And when I looked at the stage, I did have that initial reaction. I was like, oh, this doesn't have the boom because the shows typically do. Because usually it's like fireworks and
Yeah.
like loud music and all these cameos and stuff. And I was like, well, that didn't happen. But then I watched it and I was like, oh, this is probably the most powerful
Yeah.
Super Bowl
Same, I had to
performance
watch it
that's
like
ever
4
been done.
times.
But it
Well,
wasn't from like a performance standpoint. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a, it wasn't like a show and dance kind of a
So
thing.
I think Black Americans should be very proud of Kendrick Lamar and his performance, how he put it there. But we were talking the other day. We were talking about like the Palestinian flag, right? And then about how they brought it out in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Apparently that was one of the dancers, right? So nothing happened to him, right? So could that be a plan?
He's banned for life from U.S. football stadiums.
Okay,
so-
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Someone has to be banned from that, right? But do you think Kendrick knew about it and this was kind of his like insertion of that, or no?
No, he didn't know.
Rock Nation said they didn't know about it,
Okay.
and they're the production.
But you would claim that though, to stay
if
mainstream.
you were Kendrick, that's what I would claim. But even if it wasn't planned, I think
He let it happen.
Well, I think they also had a say in making
He's
sure
not
that
paying
he
attention.
didn't get.
But he's not supposed to.
He's
If
not-
he's in your
How would
face
he
like
know?
that, no.
Yeah.
But if he's in your face like that and he's gonna do it, then his popularity obviously would suffer. There will be people against it.
Yeah,
Well,
but
but
he
the thing
always
is like
speaks up for the
I think his
disenfranchised.
camp didn't want to press charges, so I feel like that at least says something. Because if anyone was the only people
Why
who
would
would
his
have been
camp
able to
even
press
be the ones
charges,
to press charges though?
well, because it
Wouldn't
was
be-
show.
because
It
it
was
was
staged.
it was their employee.
Oh, okay.
So
I saw that it was actually like a student volunteer. It wasn't even a dancer. It's like he had a bunch of bodies that
Yeah,
were.
I
no,
saw
but,
that
but either way, it's,
producer turned protesters.
But either way, they would be under Kendrick. They wouldn't be under the NFL. So if anyone had the power to press charges, it would be whoever put on the performance.
There's been artists
Yeah,
that
that makes sense. He
plan
wouldn't
things like
press
that,
charges.
just to
That's
do
cool.
things. The way that he puts his lyrics, I could see that. I don't think you have to
Serena,
agree, but I could
C-Rock.
see that he could have, known about it and been okay with it.
He could have heard about it
Yeah.
and then
Speculative at this
done
point.
nothing about it. Some other Easter eggs. So for those who don't know the history of why Serena Williams did the Crip walk, she did it during the Wimbledon in 2012. And when she did it, these were some quotes. Fox Sports, what she did was immature and classless. LA Times, separated from the violence associated with that dance. So all the media was calling her out, and they wanted her to apologize
I
for
think
celebrating
it'd be
her
different
gold
now
medal.
because they do have a point. A Crip walk is named after Crips and Bloods. There was a lot of bloodsheds through that time.
So I don't know if this is true or not, Hyung. So I read this, and this is on someone's post, and it said, Crip is for cripple, not the gang. It just so happens that the dance move was brought back in the 70s, but was created by Henry Crip, Heard, a double amputee, and it was posted because it's Black History Month and for Black disabled history. I don't know that. I don't know if that's true. or not.
I don't know.
You
I'm
guys-
saying
I think the association with Crips is the racism part, where I think people very subconsciously tend to like associate. I'm not saying from you. I'm
no,
not
but
saying
it was
from you.
2011 too.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I
Yeah.
just mean like they have a tendency to associate Black culture with negative things like
Yeah.
gangs. and-
around that, I remember when I was growing up, they blamed hip hop and gangster rap for a lot of things. A lot of things like kids ditching, drive-bys, gang culture, everything. And I don't know. For
They still do.
some people, I think it might have been true, but I think for others, it was just music, And hip hop definitely did do a lot of things during that time. It pushed the limits completely. Serena Williams, she was pushing the limits completely. Tennis is a rich man's sport.
Yeah.
If someone's
Rich
doing that
white
on the
man's
green
sport.
or something, huh?
Yeah. Rich white
Rich
man.
white
Yeah,
man's
yeah,
sport,
yeah. And then when you're doing something that is kind of associated from their ignorance, right? Associated with the ghetto or with gangs and stuff, then they're gonna be like saying something. But
Yeah.
I think it's those incidents where people push boundaries, where people progress.
Yeah.
It's true.
Last egg, I guess, is the necklace he was wearing. Did you guys see that A pendant?
It was like a
a
small
Times
A,
New
right?
Roman font. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why that
A
one
minor.
was
But
A
A
minor?
minor.
Yeah.
Not a capital.
Right. So it's from the lyric.
A minor.
Right, probably A minor in the not like a song. And then it's also it's supposed to be a symbol of his music production company that he founded in 2020 as well. All right, next in the news. So
Wait, but is anyone going to mention just like this, like who dressed that man's pants?
Oh, it's
Oh, the
iconic.
bell
I
bottoms?
love it.
It's like true religion back
bell
again,
I
dude.
already like looked up
2000s.
bell
Well, I don't
bottoms.
mind the bell bottoms. It's just that it makes him look stumpy and short.
No,
I
it
don't
makes
think
him
he
look
cares.
long. What do
Oh,
you
I think
mean?
it did
It
the-
like flares out. It makes him
No,
look
you
long.
know what it
No.
is? It's a
And he's
2020.
adorable.
Like
He's like my
2000s are
height.
coming
He looks
back,
stumpy.
dude.
They're like Celine jeans or something.
Hey,
they make his ass look
break
good.
out your
He
true
looks
religions,
fit.
man.
I think it makes him look short.
I don't care. I love how he like defies gender expectations.
I
and
liked it.
That's true. A sign
I-
of true masculinity.
so
That's
if
the
you-
only. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I had to say about it is I don't know why they dressed him because it makes him look short.
If you guys look up his, I think
his
it's
idea.
2015 or 16 photo with Obama in the White House, totally different look from that. Totally different look. But yeah,
You know, that
it's
A
more
kinda looks
us, you know.
Like Jeff
This is so
Bezos might be like,
Gemini.
hey, he's repping Amazon.
All right, so next up, so
Here, you can take over.
where's Nancy Pelosi?
Making money.
Making money. She totally is. She sold her Nvidia stock right before the whole thing happened. If you guys saw that article.
How does she know that, right? I mean, how do
So-
you not get caught for that, though?
So this is why we have corruption in politics, and this is why we have one party, certain parties winning, as it's like some political game. I mean, we'll get into all of that deeper, but the reason why we're bringing up Nancy Pelosi today is. So during when President Trump was in the first term, Nancy Pelosi really became the strongest Democratic foil to President Trump in the last term. So she's known for a couple things. In 2018, there was a contentious Oval Office meeting where she walked away. She scolded Trump not to underestimate her powers as Speaker of the House, but she was in power. Number two, she was. People know her for this. Hyung, did you see this clap where she does this for President Trump? Have you seen that clap?
yeah.
Behind him. So when his Union of Speech, State of the Union speech in 2019, and then in 2020, ripping up Trump's printed remarks. And so a lot of people have now just been asking, hey, Trump's been dismantling federal institutions, freezing government spending, threatening tariffs, slashing fundings. Where's Nancy Pelosi in all of this? And then who's going to be our Nancy Pelosi during the second term? And what are the Dems' plan? And so that's been looming around.
It's going to be that
in
dude.
terms of
that-
the
that one
circles.
guy, the leader or whatever, speaker. What is it?
Hakeem Jeffries,
Yeah, whatever. Who's that guy that just became like
he's minority leader
something?
now.
He's a
But
young dude, and his name is really popular. I forgot. his
Speaker
name.
of the House now,
Not
or
Speaker of the House right now, but for
or-
the Democratic Party, like the leader.
Oh yeah. So Hakeem Jeffries,
there you
yeah.
go, there you
So
go, okay. Oh.
so he is the Democratic leader. So a lot of people are asking, so is he gonna do anything? Can he do anything? Will he do anything? And it really comes down to, because Republicans do have, when they do flex at their full, they do have a majority in House, Senate, and then obviously White House. So legislatively, they can't really do anything. So for example, Nancy Pelosi, she actually did try to submit legislation where, in terms of addressing what Trump is doing, where was that? She introduced the Taxpayer Data Protection Act to safeguard sensitive financial data within the U.S. Department of Treasury after Musk obtained all of our social security numbers and our payment transaction records and all of that. And so since we don't know what they're doing, she did the bill, but then because Democrats hold a minority, this is just symbolic. So everybody's now just thinking, okay, so what do we do for the next 4 years? What's actually going to happen? Because when you actually look at 2026 and 2028, like, is it possible for Dems to win back anything? Because right now, the current situation is Republicans can do anything they want. So for the Dems to make any comeback in the House, there's about 10 House Dem toss-ups and about 8 House Republican toss-ups, and they need to gain 3 back. And so, and then for them to actually gain a control of the Senate, they need to gain 4 back. And a lot of people are saying that this is going to be tough for 2026. And so we'll probably have to look at this going out until 2028,
It also
unless things
matters on
actually
what
change.
happens in world events and how like the approval ratings sway left,
Right.
right, or up, down.
Right.
It matters on a lot of
But
factors.
Dems are cooked.
And
There's
whatever
a
other
South
stupid
African billionaire
mistakes they keep
dismantling the
making.
government. Like,
So
I don't really think by 2026 they'll have their shit together.
So with that being said, so the Dems are they're talking about 3 main areas right now. So we can confront Trump in three different areas instead of how it was the first time, combating Trump on every single thing. Because we have limited resources, we don't have a majority at all. We're a minority in all different ways. There's three areas let's focus on. Let's focus on legislation, but we don't have the number power, so that's sort of out the window. Then the next thing is let's focus on litigation. So now Democrats nationwide, they're trying to focus on litigation. So for California, for example, back in Trump's first term, California, they filed a bunch of lawsuits against the Trump administration, and they won about 2/3 of the lawsuits. And so right now with Trump trying to get rid of the automatic birthright, citizenship, and all of that, that's happening right now. And then the next part is...
I think California set aside $50 million for just to sue Trump.
Just to sue Trump?
Yeah.
How much million?
50 million.
50 million, okay.
So that's why I think Trump, he cut off some certain federal funding for California too, right? Isn't there some kind of contention with that?
So, well, in terms of, I mean, during the wildfires, he was playing it like it was like a dangling carrot.
And then he did that thing with the dams, which technically wasted all our water. So
Yeah, which, by the way, we're gonna
So much contentious reports on that, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
it's really he said, she said, you know?
Yeah. So and we'll actually revisit the whole Trump talking about his power or not to withhold funds from California, and how that's not fair for us living in California.
So I was watching a CNN report, right? So CNN was talking about this, and then they were talking about approval ratings. So they have to drop the approval ratings in order to do anything. But his approval ratings are really high right now at this point. You know, it's true.
What do you think about Elon Musk's
You know, that's
major
not.
involvement?
I'm just saying that, you know, Trump's approval ratings at this point is really high, and a lot of people, 70% of the
him.
people are thinking that he fulfilled all the promises that he did. So, in order for that general
alternate
election
reality.
to change it, yeah, well, I mean, it's the consensus. I don't know how you can argue with that.
So I think
I don't trust anything media.
So I think
big
it does
media.
come down to, Hyung, what you mentioned on it. I mean, the approval ratings, it all comes down to like what's being talked about in our own circles, our own communities, like what information are we sharing on our posting. And I think that's the key. I know that a couple episodes ago, I told everyone, hey, which I did. I deleted Facebook, I deleted my personal Instagram, all of that. But I actually kept my former campaign Instagram account open because I just thought, hey, even though I disagree with all the policies, if I too, my voice is just disappears, like what good is that? Like,
Yeah, I don't think you
like,
should
and
do
so
that.
and so I kind of kept it open also because I'm gonna announce the next candidate running against the Congress member on
You?
April 1st. It's not me, but I'm gonna announce that candidate on April 1st. But that's also why I kept it open. But I think you nailed it in terms of approval rating. Behind that, it's the communication that's key. So are we still speaking up? Are we still voicing, or are we defeated and keeping our heads down and not talking? And I think that's what we really need to be doing the next 2-4 years. But going back to Nancy Pelosi, so Nancy Pelosi, not only is she really old, hold on, let me help. Sorry. No, so in terms of her hindrances and what's keeping her, so she has filed to run again for 2026, but she hasn't formally announced it yet. So a lot of people are wondering, why hasn't she announced it yet? Blah, blah, blah. And obviously it's because Trump just started in office. But some things that a lot of people are kind of just guessing is she's old. She just had her hip replaced late last year. She fell on a trip to Luxembourg. There were attempts on her life during the January 6th attack. There was a man that invaded her San Francisco home and beat her husband almost to death with a hammer. So a lot of these things are happening. And so there is one announced candidate. My apologies if I pronounce this wrong. There's Saikat Chakrabarti. He's a former software engineer for Stripe. He worked as the chief of staff for Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Sounds tight.
He's co-founder of Justice Democrats, Brand New Congress, and he's running and for her seat, whether or not she runs again or not, whether or not it's an open seat or not. And then another strong contender, actually before going to that, this is what he says. I respect what Nancy Pelosi has accomplished in her career, but we are living in a totally different America than the one she knew when she entered politics 45 years ago. And so he says America's stuck and Americans want real solutions that are as big as the problems we have. And so if for those who don't know, he was very instrumental in helping Representative Ocasio-Cortez win her seat against the third most powerful Democrat in Congress. And he's been very critical of even the progressive for not being progressive enough. The other strong contender is State Senator Scott Wiener. For those who don't know, he's known more as one of the progressive California legislatures, but a lot of people are saying he's more establishment now. If he runs for Pelosi's seat, he's just going to be another Pelosi eventually. But one thing that, and so kind of with all of this said, people are saying that if she does give up this next seat, then we could see the politics and the leadership of the Democrat Party swing and change. Yeah, Hyung.
Are there any figures in the Democratic Party right now? Because when you look at like the Republican Party, there's a lot of names and people and faces that people are familiar with. So there's several figures actually, you know. But when you look at the Democratic Party, everyone got really old, like Joe Biden. Are there any figures, like up and coming figures?
So with that being said, I believe Senator Andy Kim is one of those figures.
A Korean guy?
I believe Congressmember Dave Min is one of those figures. Like they've
Andy
actually
Kim's
been
like
I wonder if the DP will really embrace an Asian. I don't know.
Andy Kim's been like really vocal, actually.
they've been quoted more than other new senators and new Congress members.
Okay.
Those two.
Well, that's the thing
so.
though, is that like people who typically serve their first term are more vocal.
Yeah,
that's
especially
true.
when you're a newbie, it's kind of like
But-
you're just
but
kind of
more
like
than
trying to
their-
figure it out. You know,
Well, more
it's
than their
not
freshman
because you have
counterparts,
like
though.
all these things that you want to do,
Yeah.
and then I think a lot of people end up getting like disillusioned after they keep going, and then once you have to rerun and try to do all that stuff, I think that starts to really sink in that like you have to play ball a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think the first termers typically are more loud. Like think of AOC. She was so much louder her first term.
But what do you think, David, as someone that was sort of involved in politics?
Well, I
what's
lost. I've never
what
won
future,
and
what
been
do
in
you
it.
hope
But
for the Democratic Party?
well, no, I
think
think
they're cooked.
like when
That's
we
the
talk
issue.
about
they need
so
listen.
Your team is
we
winning.
need to
bro.
listen.
I think Democrats, the
They
older
need to
people,
listen.
need to
I'm like
listen.
dead
No,
ass
they need to
scared.
listen. So I think
To
a lot
their
of
constituents.
so they need to listen to their constituents.
Yeah.
So for the next
Instead
And be
dictating shit for
cool,
them.
like hip.
So while so the three areas that we talked about, there's legislation, they can't win in it because they don't have the numbers. There's litigation, so California $50 million doing the lawsuits. While we have that going on,
Not to mention, I
the
think
other one is
27 of the states right now are suing Trump's administration. So more than
that's-
half of the country is suing Trump.
yeah. So that's one strategic area, litigation, lawsuits. The other is communication. Going back to the approval ratings, Hyung. So one of the things that I believe like the freshman senators and Congress members are doing, like what you say, are being more vocal, of influencing what the communication is. So on us in our own individual circles, we need to post, be vocal. Them in their circles, they're doing that because they want to keep the American morale boosted. But one of the things that Senator Kim did say is he is I think they're playing strategic ball as well because they know they don't have the numbers. So they are ready to get the votes necessary to keep the government funded ahead of a certain key deadline and using that as a tool to maneuver them into listening or not. And so there are people who are trying to think outside of the boxes, but it is limited in that sense. And so
Just
a lot
be
of people
aggressive. Send
Be-
the Republicans a box of shit to their house. Just do it. Unethical life hacks.
Well, I think like Nancy Pelosi is
Just like be aggressive,
part
y'all.
of the problem.
Yeah.
I think politics is going the way that like industries go, like the entertainment
Yeah.
industry, for instance, where
The
like
sun is setting on Pelosi.
well, it's just that like a lot of these people, they get to the position and they want to keep it, and then they age to the point, and I'm not trying to be ageist, but like they age to a point where they're
Be
like no
ageist.
longer able to be ahead of the trend.
Like Mitch McConnell,
You
too.
know what I
He
mean?
started
She
doesn't
freaking-
represent
Like
the
that's the reason
average.
why there are like so many like sequels and like redoing like bringing back IPs and stuff even in the entertainment businesses because like they don't know how to stay ahead of the trend. So the only guarantees they have to be successful is to fall back on stuff that they know. And I feel like that's where the Democratic Party is right now, which is the reason why when in 2016 when the whole country of Democrats were like, no, we want Bernie Sanders, and they're like, no, we're gonna Hillary, and we're like, well, why would you do that? And then she lost, and then we did it again this year, and I feel like it's that same thing. So I hate to say it, but like, we need more people running. We need people running and getting these, lifers out of there.
And more people running, but then as somebody who's ran 3 times, we need to fucking
and then be
take out
aggressive
the
when we
corporate
run.
money
Yeah.
from
I
politics.
know this is not
and
going to
so
be a
it's-
popular opinion, but California is a super majority. I honestly think we need a few more representation for Republicans as well. I know this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I feel that.
In the California state legislature, I mean, for those who aren't aware, California is most majority Democrat, but they're in my opinion, they're mostly corporate Dems, and to me, they're all the same. So
Okay, all right.
So
you have a point there. All right,
that's-
you got a point
that's-
there.
And we really need to root out corporate influence of politics and really get back to the basics. So this is something I read by I'm so sorry if I am bad with the name, but he is a writer, professor at USC, behind the show The Sympathizer on HBO, if you haven't seen it. Viet Thanh Nguyen, professor. Democrats, though, thought they could embrace diversity and multiculturalism while endorsing drone strikes, and refusing to stop aiding Israel do not get a pass. Neither do writers of benign multicultural literature. Talking about craft and workshop is not enough. When I saw that was super powerful. So I think right now we see this. Our educated, our activists really speaking out and talking out, and I think that since that's continuing, there's for a lot of people they feel hopeless, but let's remember though, if that keeps us from talking, then we're playing into all of that.
Well, it's like, well, that's the annoying thing too, because like the media did it after Kamala lost, but they were like, Kamala lost because of misogyny and racism, and while that is true, I also know a lot of liberal people who didn't want to vote because they didn't feel comfortable voting for someone.
Thank you, Ed.
Like,
Thank you.
Like Biden.
Thank you.
Who just like Viet Nguyen is saying, it's like they were celebrating drone attacks, saying that like America is like the greatest in the army, and that's not what the majority of us believe in. So for them to be like, oh, but we're so progressive while also doing the same things that the Republican Party was doing.
In a way, sometimes it's like it's almost flipped.
Well, it made the majority of us kind of go, well, I don't feel comfortable voting for that.
Yeah.
And not that I ever really call myself a Democrat, but like for sure I'm not calling myself a Democrat now.
I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah.
No, the left is just as culpable for why America is in the state that it's in today.
Right. And I get it, because at least like the right, they're very honest about their flaws.
Are they? What do you mean by that?
Well, but they're like very blatant about it. Whereas like, on the Democratic side, they're like, oh,
Deny
but like,
it,
we have to have like DEI and stuff, as they then
Like performative.
are very performative and are
wokeism,
exactly as white supremacy and racist as all of them. So it's like
they're just as hypocritical.
right. So it's like, I feel like that's all of that comes with the lifers. If we can get them all out, we can get people to believe in the, government.
So the
again,
conservative
the youth
view, I'm
again.
sorry again, but it is that Trump is that one. I know you guys think it's wrong, but the conservative view is that Trump is that outsider that can make that change.
Because
that's
think
what
about
they're
it,
hoping
right?
to- Yeah.
Conservatives typically are going to be older.
Yeah, you're right. And it's also age thing.
It is.
You were educated differently. I noticed that. I wanted to bring this up.
There's a whole Gen Z demographic.
But like, think
Yeah.
about it, right? Like,
guys.
conservatives tend to skew
Older.
older.
Yeah, they're older.
Which means that like when they do all this stuff, they have the confidence in them because this is what they've grown up with.
Yeah.
This is what they have trust in.
Yes.
Whereas the liberals tend to be on the younger side
And experimental.
So when the older politicians are in there lying to us, all of us young people, it's basically like when our parents try to gaslight us, we're like, what the fuck are you doing? Who believes this? We have this and we know you're lying. Like, what is happening? You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's the biggest problem is like, if the liberals want to win,
They're not
you need to
appealing.
get the fuck out of office.
Yes.
People need to
Exactly.
know when to retire.
All right, David.
Please.
Come on, let's
So
go. Get back into it, man.
Come on,
There's no
Dems.
seats available, and I need a personal life, so not for me right now. Please, for those watching, don't give up hope. Keep on posting. Keep on talking. I'm not gonna move to Korea to do
Oh my God,
politics.
it's a shit show. What do you mean?
That's why
Be
David can make a
plugged into
difference.
mutual aid. Be plugged into community orgs, land trusts. Like when you actually give back and help other people, it sparks this inner fire in you, this
Yeah.
livelihood. So do
Let's
good
be
to help you
altruistic.
make yourself good. So with that being said, one of the things, one of the candidates who might be a strong contender for Pelosi seat, Senator Scott Wiener, in his virtual town hall, and although a lot of people were asking questions, hey, are you going to replace Pelosi? The number one question that they asked was, hey, what are your thoughts on CalExit? So the next topic is CalExit. Because President Trump is now back in office, so for those who aren't aware, CalExit is an activist group that behind the California succession
California, like
campaign.
an independent country, right?
Right, and so
Has the
it's
economy for it.
it's about a new voter initiative that could again put the question of succession. Am I saying that okay? Succession in front of California voters in 2028 after getting clearance from the Secretary of State just last week to gather signatures. And so there have been multiple groups pushing for California to leave the United States in the past decade, and this started the same year with the Brexit vote in Great Britain, and it was backed unsuccessful several attempts. The last time was 2016 when Trump first took president, and there's one guy in particular, his name is Marcus Ruiz Evans. He calls himself the godfather of CalExit. He said that this time it's different because in 2016, President Trump won the election without winning a popular vote nationwide. Now people are realizing, holy shit, President Trump just won a popular vote, and we're tied to a country that actually likes President Trump. We need to succeed as a state. And so that's why he really thinks that of all years, now's the time to make this happen.
Theoretically, the majority of Americans did not vote for Trump. Technically, the ones who voted yes, majority,
And that's a good,
but the majority of
very
people
important point to
did
make.
not vote for Trump.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Also, I fully support California seceding because we are the largest contributors to the American GDP. Literally, we're 14% of America's GDP. That's larger than Texas and New York.
That's impressive.
So we're called a donor state, meaning here, let me put this thing up, and if you guys can shoot this up, that'd be great.
That's why it was like really funny when people are talking about like cutting funding, because it's like the states that get the most federal funding are the red states.
Oh, the
So
Republican.
this is who gives and
Yeah,
who gets.
welfare
So
queen.
this shows the balance of payments between states and the federal government. So if you look at the orange, we pay in more than we receive.
Yeah.
So Washington, California, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New Jersey.
All that.
So
mob
we're all
money.
donor states. We're all donor states.
You know, I don't care what happens with California. I mean, California is California. It's always been California. But the fact of the matter is that, dude, the roads are really messed up for the taxes that we're paying. I really wish the government would really put back into the California infrastructure and make California better. Bring back the education, bring back the good roads and revive some of the industries that California killed because of so many environmental restrictions. Those are some of the things that I have a problem with, And I understand a lot of different things, but there's too many industries in California that started off with in California that's dying, like racing,
Well,
things like that.
So Hyung, so if we were to succeed, we would actually get a lot of money back.
Well,
And-
I don't know because
how
it's
I
been
feel about
under
it.
like Gavin
It sounds
Newsom and all
fun.
these people, and honestly, California, I don't think it's gotten better.
Yeah.
If California secedes, I'm running for president.
Go for it, dude.
Okay, so
Go for
in
it.
terms
Hell yeah.
of the actual practicality of it all, so
California native.
here's
Maybe, I don't know. I was just kidding.
So here's what the actual initiative language would be. If at least 50% of registered voters participate in that election and at least 55% vote yes, it would constitute a vote of no confidence in the United States of America, but it actually wouldn't do anything legally to California and the US because this would actually require a constitutional amendment, which would require 2/3 of all states to approve this. So this would just be a symbolic thing anyway, but yet
Just like the what is it? Daylight savings time vote, right?
Yeah.
A symbolic thing, anyways. Right?
symbolic thing anyway, and it would require
support the
546,000 signatures. Yet they're gonna really move forward with this, even
As
though
a troll, I support.
Yeah. So
for the symbolism of it all. But
I
I
mean,
feel like
right
there
to
would be,
protest,
I feel like
you
no.
know?
there
So
would
if
be
somebody came onto your door and
catastrophic
knocked, you would
effects
sign
to
it probably, right?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
What? Sign
America's
what?
not going to
The
vote for it. because
California
The
exit?
voter
They
initiative.
need
Yeah,
us.
CalExit.
Yeah,
they
they
need
literally-
I'll
546,000
stay out.
signatures.
Literally need our money.
I'll
That's why
let you
we
young
pay so
people
much.
decide.
Oh,
I
okay,
would
so
I would
that's how
stay
you
out
pull
of that
it.
one
trying
and
to
let you
like
young
make
people
it to
decide.
next week, okay? Like
So 29% of Californians supposedly support succession.
No, but even
Hell yeah.
Brexit,
Cute
when
in
you look at
theory.
Brexit, it was really
Most
a
Europeans
conservative or
didn't like
older
it.
folks versus like the younger folks
It's
thing.
flipped
you know?
now.
Oh, what is it now? The younger folks don't want it?
Oh no,
Most
I'm saying your
Europeans don't
your
like
your
it.
point is that it's
Brexit-
flipped
Yeah.
now.
They don't like
Yeah.
Brexit, or
they don't like the younger people don't like the outcome of Brexit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what. Yeah, I mean,
It like completely fucked up their economy and like ability to travel with ease or something. I don't know. I learned this 2 years ago when I went to Europe
I
for the
don't
first
know.
time.
Older boomers are just really bad at making decisions. So if you could please stop. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll stay out of that one. I'll just be the old guy just hanging out.
You're a
dude.
Gen
No,
X.
you're not a
even
boomer. You're not a boomer, so
But
don't
you know,
worry
it's
about
like
it.
there's a lot of
boomer
dude, I
in you.
think just like my dad, you know, I didn't think I would, and I used to fight with him all the time going to school. I'd be like, why, right?
Yeah.
And then I turn old, I have kids, and I fucking become exactly like my fucking dad.
become
So
our
I don't know.
parents.
Fucking beats the
That's
shit
so-
out of me, dude.
You have to
I
become
think you
aware of
become
it.
a slightly better version, no?
Well, that's what you
But-
would hope.
You can
but
s-
you
you
can
can still
have
fight that.
Yeah. You can have your shadows,
I
your
don't want to
unconscious
fight it. You know?
drive.
I
love
like the way my dad
self-development
thinks
talk.
now. You know,
Mindfulness
it's
is
like
great. All right, last news topic of the day. I actually just learned about this just recently.
From young.
yeah, I wanted to add this in because it's like a case that happened a long time ago. She actually killed herself a long time ago. It's been months, right? But the
So
fact is that
what happened, Hyung?
Okay, so I was in the news industry. I started out as a weathercaster at the Korean Meteorological Administration, and I did weather reports there. And I moved up to EBS, I moved up to KBS, and I did like Arirang, and I did that. And then I moved up to being a journalist. So I understand that most weathercasters, it's a freelance position. Okay, so there's
coveted
the
So independent
position.
contractor.
no, it's not coveted at
No,
all.
but
Actually,
weather girls.
yeah, I mean, to men, I mean, it's misogynistic if you see how they all dress up, the weather girls in short skirts and stuff.
Oh, hella
When you-
misogynistic.
Yeah, when you actually
But
look at
it's
it,
like a-
but that's the purpose that they're supposed to
Yeah.
serve. You know,
Okay,
I'm
sorry,
sorry,
go
right?
ahead.
But the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of hierarchy there, and then when you have like a
sure.
freelancer thing, the freelancer's opinions matters a lot, right? So she was like the youngest one that came in. And there's a lot of kissing ass that you have to do to like the older people. Like, and apparently she was doing
our
okay.
culture.
She was gaining popularity and she was doing that. And they started kind of bullying her, talking shit about her, like on like a 단톡방, you know, saying that she smells and saying that she smelled like alcohol. She doesn't wash and this and that, right? And apparently she came out, she became chosen on to appear on UKIDS. Now UKIDS is like a big ass show. Yu Jae-seok, he's like the biggest guy. Once you're on there, you know, that's like a chance at blowing up. You know what I mean? So since she was chosen on there, I guess someone they invited her, right? They were upset that she was chosen, and I don't think she never told them. And she has no obligation to tell them as a freelancer. She does not, right? But when you're considering like the old school, like, you know, just really 꼰대 mind, you know, she should have come up and told them and been friendly with them, kissing their ass. Oh, 선배님 제가 나가는 게 아닌데 이게 어떻게 기회가 됐어요? You know, that's the
hell no.
but that's the Korean way. If you want to
That is
succeed in
fucking
Korea,
right.
and if you can't do that, then you're not gonna make it. That's it.
Hell to the no.
That's it. Yeah, I had to do that. You know,
I
you know.
can't.
It's just the fact is that when a dream is in front of you, a lot of people will take a knee.
Hyung, I have a quick question.
Drift
So
is gonna drift.
as a freelancer independent contractor here in the States, it's not automatic because there's certain tests you need to fulfill as to if you fit being an employee or a freelancer.
Yeah.
But in Korea, but then here in terms of the hours and whatnot, being required to be at a certain place, that falls more in the employee category. In Korea, for freelancers, do they work long hours and are required to stay there a long time?
Well, you can. For example, if you're the only one that they have available for
the
like a daily
freelancers?
series, let's say there's like a typhoon going on, right? And then you have to have like then you would have to be working all day. Like for example,
okay,
when the Sewerhole,
Right, because it's
when that happened,
production-wise.
we were 24
Because
hours.
that's how production
you know?
is, right?
Yeah.
You get
Okay.
overtime?
No,
salary.
This is Korea,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And if you're a freelancer, it's just per show.
So you're not even getting.
exploitative. Every industry there is exploitative.
but freelancers get paid a lot of money. We get paid like double or triple of what
Oh.
just a regular salary man would
Because
make.
there's no job security or benefits.
Yeah. But you can create job security and benefits by taking them out, buying them drinks, and
Kissing
creating.
ass,
Yeah, and then
networking.
it's business.
The job security.
It's just business.
So then you guys
You
have
know?
no health insurance. So what do you do?
No, the government, it's
the
universal. So
government.
we
Okay, so
pay a
that-
certain amount, like according to our income, we pay a certain amount into the government, and our family is covered.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but freelancers, they don't get it from the company,
Right.
but they also have to get separate insurance like that.
Right.
They get paid a lot less, and well, not a lot less actually, but a Weathercaster, I think it's like $2,000 to $3,000
But then
per
in-
show?
A month.
Oh.
Yeah.
so then
But
let's
the benefits are greater because if you're on a major TV channel as a weathercaster, you're getting other jobs, dude. You're like doing like, Suwon City, welcoming committee, hengzas and stuff like that. You're doing a lot of stuff.
But
man.
then let's say, Hyung, think of an employee version of you, comparing you, the freelancer version, and you and the
No,
employee version.
yeah.
Did the employee version get where they treated a lot better, or they had more protections? Because in this particular case, so the NBC freelance weathercaster Yoanna O, she was bullied at work
by other freelancers.
by other freelancers.
Yeah. So so they had like the top freelancer who was like 13 years older than her, So
Humble.
yeah, so that they already hold a lot of weight,
Right.
And then all the other ones are older. There was one person, I think there was about 5 of them. One of them was like her age, right? But she had already joined the dark side of the force,
Right.
And as she should have, but she got left out. And sometimes there's always that one person that these groups talk shit about. It's really messed up.
So this whole freelancer world is just all messed up.
There's a line.
Oh wow.
There's like, the freelance, and depending on whose line you join, you could see super duper success, or you could just totally be forgotten in the past, right?
Right.
The fact of the matter is that she didn't have to do any of it per se, but in Korea, the system that the older 선배s went through, they become what they hate.
So it's an accepted thing, so you can't even tell the company at all because
Well-
it's like, this is what we did too. What are you?
Yeah, you would
fussing
lose. You would
about?
basically be fired.
Right.
I know. It
think
sucks.
it's a
You would
cultural
basically be
issue.
fired.
It is a cultural issue
Yeah.
because you say business and all I
We're so
all I
hierarchical.
hear is power dynamic.
But I think you can see that
There's abuse
in
of power in
the
every industry.
entertainment industry here as well.
Oh, for sure.
Because
I'm not saying it doesn't exist in the States.
yeah.
but
So
Yeah, I hear the story and I think of those shows, Marry My Husband and Little Women. I don't know if you saw either of
Marry
those.
My husband, the
Wait.
Korean one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I
I
have
watched
that
that
But
one.
both of them take place in like news broadcasts, and both
Yeah.
of the women get bullied there by their colleagues.
Yeah.
also just another.
just bullying in general is very
a lot of
common.
people want to become announcers or weather girls or something like that because it leads to
It's a coveted position. like
yeah,
you said.
it leads to notoriety and you marry rich.
A lot of like ex
You
pageant
marry
girls go
rich.
I knew you
into
were
weather
going there.
girl.
Yeah, no, but it's true though.
Yeah.
I don't know any former anchor that married down.
Yeah. So for those who, just a quick news item, for those who don't know what we're talking about, so Yoanna O, NBC freelance weathercaster, she died on September 15,
Yeah.
2024, 28 years old. She left behind a 17-page suicide letter on her phone.
It's like 13 reasons why.
that detailed how she had been harassed by her
17
colleagues,
pages is so-
and this was not
NBC has
reported
not done nothing.
until December.
has done nothing.
So it was said that NBC, they did an initial investigation, and then because now that it's been public since December, public pressure's now been growing, and so they announced just last week that they now formed an external fact-finding committee to conduct a more comprehensive
So
inquiry.
the people in question, they're still. Last I heard, they were still doing the weathercasting. So it's business as usual. over there.
I saw that one person resigned.
One person resigned, came
Because
back,
she felt
and then I
bad?
think there's
Oh, she
more
came
talk.
back.
Yeah, that's what I heard. One person took some
okay.
time off, she came back, and then I think now there's like all this talk about it. So I think NBC has no choice but to address the situation.
Yeah.
And
Because her family's suing too right now. So.
yeah, but also the thing is like I don't know, like it's there's
Do you
no
think
real
abuse of-
criminal I don't know what they can do criminally.
Do you
Yeah,
think
so-
abuse of power is going to be something
I
that we
think it
can
definitely-
overcome
I
in our
mean,
culture?
So this is something.
I don't
Not
think
for
in
a
our
long-
life,
never.
not in our lifetime.
Yeah, just
it
because,
always
like-
is
At least-
forever. Even with the
the way we
the
operate,
new
even our
jeans, you know what I mean?
language.
Well, at least in terms of the protections now, I think
and Jay-Z.
I think while Korea definitely has healthcare down way better than we do here, in terms of
questionable
other
too, actually,
areas, workplace protection areas, and I mean we're still falling behind here, but in terms of that, we do have more than what they do have there. So in Korea, if you are a freelancer like Yoanna Oh was, she was not protected under the workplace harassment provisions of South Korea's Labor Standards Act.
Which we technically don't have here anymore either.
Well, yeah, and technically, but there are still kind of provisions here. So here in California, through the Fair Employment and Housing Act and through the Freelance Worker Protection Act, and this is actually something that just happened. So just a few months ago, September 28, 2024, Governor Newsom enacted Bill SB 988, known as the Freelance Worker Protection Act, which establishes baseline standards for contracts. And in that, there's also workplace harassment protections for freelancers.
Yeah.
So up until a few months ago, when she actually passed away, we didn't have this in California.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
We didn't have it because she passed away September 15th, I think, and then governor signed this September 28th. So we actually didn't have it here until recently now. Now, a lot of people are wondering, hey, now, how, are we going to actually enforce it now that we do have the law, and how is it going to be enforced? And so these are important questions that we just went through. Now Korea is going through right now.
I think so, but Korea's a little bit
Bullying's
different.
been there for decades, so it's not something they're just
Korea's
going
like
through.
systemized bullying.
Yeah, it's a
like
cultural,
a systematic
it's a
bullying.
cultural
That's
issue.
yeah,
and it
that's
never
true, actually.
disappears because the 선배s do it to the 후배s. The 후배s decide not to. They tell each other we're not going to do that, and they think that they're not going to do that. When they get up there and their 후배s come in, they're doing the exact same.
It's like the
thing.
Korean mother-in-law saying, "I'm not going to be that mother-in-law," and then
It's
they
the
do.
exact. It's like me saying that I'm not going to be like my father.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean, yeah, culturally, it's just a big problem. My aunt, one time in Korea, she like stopped at a red light, and some lady next to her rolled down her window and was like, "아줌마, 종타 좀 새로 사요." And she was like, "This car's 4 years old."
Yeah.
She's like, "It's 4-year-old
my
model. Like, what the
But
fuck?"
as a Korean American, like I had to go through it and I had to cater to it and I did have to bend a knee and I had to bend over. You know what I mean? It is what it is, right? But if you can navigate it well, when I was out of the job, all those people, they helped me big time. Like they gave me jobs. They forced jobs on me to keep me alive. So,
So should you conform though, or should you try and
It's
set
up
a
to
new
you.
standard?
It's up to you.
Should you try and set a new
But
standard
if you
to try and
do,
eradicate this level of
you're gonna be
normalized
martyred.
abuse?
You're gonna be martyred.
I mean, I guess that's
If
what
you
I'm
do.
trying to do with this fucking podcast or whatever the fuck.
No, but you're gonna lose your
If I
job. You're
become
gonna,
any kind of
you went through
influential
like
voice.
2,000 to 1 odds. You got the job and you were broadcasting. And if you do
No,
that,
I understand.
then,
I'm
yeah.
very well aware. I'm
So
from a
I
very
mean,
Korean family. I
that's-
speak fluent
but
Korean.
those are the people that
I
make the difference, though.
A lot of my family's in Korea. I very much understand like the normalization and institutionalized like abuse in our culture. It's something I'm very passionate about speaking up against, actually.
Oh my
So I
gosh,
think it's
yeah.
good that we like highlight bullying cases like this because
Yeah.
it's too commonplace. I
No,
mean,
I
look at
agree.
even K-pop idols. They're like these.
There's
coveted
more. There's
level
plenty more of
celebrity.
this. There's people
yeah,
bowing
it's in
out.
every industry.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not
quitting
just
and leaving.
entertainment. It's not
It's
just
because she
entertainment.
killed herself and she committed
Yeah.
she took that ultimate step and left those letters that this is coming to light. But most people, they just go, oh, fuck this, and they leave and go somewhere else and live, just normal lives or something. There's tons of those cases.
I am
devastating.
curious though, because Korean legislators are talking about putting in implementation of certain policies and all of that, but even though they do that, it'll still continue. And I agree with you somewhat, Hyung, because it takes me back to when I interned for, I'm not going to mention the law firm in Korea, but when I interned there, I mean, workplace harassment comes in different ways. We were forced to go to Ocha, and then we went home at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And they made us sleep under, no, they didn't make us. We had no choice but to sleep under our desks because they wanted us
Yeah.
to be at the office by 8 a.m.
Yeah.
While they showed up at noon.
Yep.
And so in a way, that's workplace harassment bullying.
Yeah.
It's just a different form, right?
Yeah.
So even though these
Like,
laws
imagine being a
exist,
woman.
the culture will still continue, right?
Yeah. But for women, it's gotten
I
a
was actually
little
assaulted
better
so many
in
times in
terms of
Korea,
way. For
girl.
example, like maternal leave or something like that. Before they used to fire, there was like reprimandation or something like that, or they would not hire her because of that. But it's getting a little
That
bit
still
better.
happens covertly.
Yeah.
where they ask you like what your plans are for motherhood. Like that's so inappropriate in a job interview.
During your interviews in
Yeah.
Korea,
Yeah.
you can
In
actually
professional-
blatantly ask
And in
that?
Korea,
They
you know,
used to,
you
and
have to
now
have a
it's more-
picture.
yeah, it's like
you
covert.
got to
Okay,
put a
that's
picture
something
in
that
there.
the party needs
People
to work
ask
on.
that here.
There's so much fucked up like
People ask that here, but a
unethical-
lot of people don't know their
Yeah.
rights. And that's a
Yeah.
big problem.
People,
You're
yeah.
right.
Even here, we're fighting for our rights, and we're the more progressive country.
There was this guy like
Well, not anymore,
7, 8,
probably.
9 years ago who went around and he sued like 50 companies. So basically what he would do, he was just interview, and whether he got hired or not, he would find something illegal that they did during the hiring process, like asking questions like that, and
that's
he would
like-
sue them.
Were they
That's like
able
those-
to like convert that? Were they able to win that
I
decision?
think he
or-
won a shit ton of them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's when you look at it from especially
us
from a
as
Western
Korean
perspective,
Americans-
looking at Korea, it's totally nuts. But when in Rome,
We should criticize it in an objective way. That's the only way our culture can heal, I believe, and progress, like as a national identity.
is
and
happening.
Yes, of course
Because
it's happening.
there's expats
I've
there
been on the
that are-
receiving end of all types of abuse.
yeah,
in
no,
like
no, no.
all
So-
types of Korean.
So no, I'm
and
saying that
Korean
progression is
environments.
happening because of the influx of
Yeah.
expats who are also bringing these to light. And Koreans really
absolutely.
care about what foreigners say.
Well, I
if
mean,
you haven't
it's
noticed.
not even just that. I mean, Korea
Yeah.
should change because the world knows. Like Korea,
Yeah, it's on
every
a world
year,
stage now.
every year ranks in the top 5 most suicides in the world.
It's the number one with the number.
It's the number one
Actually-
OECD nation in suicides.
Yeah, number
and
one
that's
OECD.
a record
Yes.
that Korea
That's
has
rough.
held for over
the
15
lowest
years.
birth rate in the
Yeah.
world.
15 years, okay?
They're technically not the highest suicide, but
Number
in
one.
that category.
in that
yes.
category of
OECD, yeah.
countries.
Of developed nations, yeah.
So-
Greenland, for some weird reason, has doubled the amount of suicides.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe they just freeze to death and just count it as
Yeah, so
suicide.
South Korea has like roughly around 29.5 per every 100,000. Greenland has like 59.5 for every.
You know, how many kids in
Hey,
America kill themselves because they don't do well on the SAT?
Not as many as
Not
kids
as many
who die
as in
from
Korea.
guns.
It's probably
By
from
the
more
way,
from
Greenland
guns and bullying.
Greenland is owned by Denmark, right? Danish people want to buy California right now.
Yeah,
just
go for it,
FYI.
dude.
Denmark's
Random
aight.
fact. So workplace bullying is so I think the number's higher. They say that there's been reported over 10,000 cases in 2023 to the Ministry of Employment and Labor. I think that number is
That must
not
be
anywhere
like
reflected
3% of what actually happens.
because a lot of people can't report it,
Yeah.
right? And so,
Especially in
They're
Asian countries.
scared to.
Yeah,
Because-
this happens in Japan.
I would say
China, a lot of
3%
Asian
is a
countries
good,
too, you know?
Yeah.
good estimate.
Hierarchical.
And then, so according to the report, another report based on the survey data from just a couple years ago, 13 major TV broadcasters in Korea employed 9,199 freelancers. And this accounted for 66% of the entire employee count of 13,000. So about 30, and by contract types, freelance employment accounted for 32%, followed by outsourcing at 19%.
The reason for more freelance employment is because of all the benefits, the pensions, and all these other things, medical and this and that the company has to dish out in order to keep those employees. That's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which should be
Why
illegal.
would they hire freelancers?
Which should be
then?
illegal.
It's more,
Should be
it's,
illegal.
Which should be illegal, right? But it's just not the case
Yeah.
for freelancers. But then freelancers also have the ability to work wherever the fuck they want, as many jobs as they want, as long as they can fit it, you know? So
Yeah.
Shut up,
Which
freelancers.
wouldn't have to happen if they were protected in their job, theoretically.
I understand, but I made a ton more than any Chiguan
Yeah.
working about 5 shows. I mean, some guys I know, they're making about 50,000 a month as a freelancer.
Damn.
Did you know
In
any
Korea?
freelancers?
What the fuck?
Fuck yeah.
You need money like that over there?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you just got to know how. Like, for example, if you're teaching and you route it through EBS and you
As
made
an
yourself
anchor,
well
though,
known.
50K a month.
Do you remember
Well,
any-
you're doing 3 shows. You're doing a radio show for $6,000 per month, and you're doing another show for $6,000 a month. You do another show for $6,000 a month. Then you got
Yeah.
18 grand.
Do you
right there.
remember
My
any
understanding was they were
freelancers
hella
that
underpaid.
didn't have the tact or didn't climb up the ladder? It's like the social ladder of being bullied or machochoing. Did you know anybody personally?
Yeah.
A lot?
And they all
Okay.
drop out.
And they all dropped out.
They all
so,
can't
so they
handle
didn't go
it,
as far as
and
you
they all
did.
talk shit and they leave,
Okay.
and
I
they're
see.
not able to fulfill their dreams.
That
But
sucks.
I know it sucks, but I was there in the 1997, dude. I mean, we used to get beat up, dude, by fucking producers and shit. They had these little big ass, like you know, those.
actually, like.
No, like they. You know this little thing right here? You know why that's from? That little thing right there? It's from an ashtray being thrown in my face
Oh, wow.
by a Condar sajang.
Oh, yeah, that person would not be alive. I
No,
would've-
but he's a Contender.
if that happened?
And
I
he'd
don't
get me
care.
killed, you know?
I would have taken that ashtray and bashed his face in.
Yeah, that's insane.
100%.
That would have been the end of you, too. You know, it's just what it is.
So now that
My
you're
heart hurts for our people.
random question. We're about to end this. Now that your kids are off and stuff, would you ever, if you had money, would you ever organize your own K-pop label or music label?
No, I think stardom destroys people.
Oh, okay.
I think stardom destroys people.
Okay.
I think you live off in your own world because you'll have a bunch of yes men around you who like you because you're a star and they're just gonna say yes, right? And then it totally gaslights you in a different way of becoming a fucking retard. And you see every star is going through that at one point or another. Britney Spears still going through it.
With that being said, don't be a star, y'all.
She's been abused and she's mentally ill, so that take.
But
Is a little-
also
Yeah, that's-
stardom and all that, it's something a little bit too much for people to handle, in my opinion. You have to have the right
I
headspace.
think
agree
like
that fame
I think
fucks
like
people up.
1% of famous people can stop themselves from going down that
Yeah.
egotistical hole.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Narc-
A lot of ego, dude. It's a lot of narcissism.
A lot of personality
you know?
disorders.
Yeah. With that being said, y'all, thanks for hanging out with us.
Take care of your
on
mental
another
health.
episode of Ktown Social Club.
Yes,
y'all.
mental health.
Take care of your mental health.
Now let's
Take
go
care
get
of your
fucked up.
community.
Throwing a flag.
Go Eagles! Congrats. Woo! Football.
Yay.
Good job, y'all.